This is it, your wrap up for Dragon Con 2014. 4 days of pure madness. And I am just recovering from that event. I did go to one literature panel, so I will be focusing this short video on the authors I had the opportunity to listen to and that I actually asked a question of. That was fun. It was a small, intimate atmosphere on the literature panel because it was on day 4 when I went. So people were still recovering from the Sunday night parties, and there were a lot of other big names in writing at Dragon Con like Timothy Zahn, Gene Wolfe, Jim Butcher. So there's like so much going on. Blows the mind. I honestly went to a lot of other panels where celebrities like Carl Urban, aka Judge Dredd, a couple of cast members from Farscape, Battlestar Galactica, Stargate, and in 4 days you have to consume as much as you can. And of course you have to go in costume. So at the end of this, you can check out all the photos, the best of photos. The sci-fi literature panel that I went to was interesting because it was called Ask Me Anything. So I guess on Monday morning, after the weekend of craziness, maybe anything was fair game. We'd seen it all by then. But these writers were pretty insightful. There were some good questions. There were a lot of writers in the audience who asked their writing questions, which I was like, okay, go Google it. But we had one question about how do you do your research for books? You know, how do you make sure the science fiction isn't fake and like just apparently bad? There were some good perspectives and some good advice, like Lost in Space, the television show, should not be your defining source on what is actually scientifically sound. Comets are not balls of fire. Comets are ice. And so you won't feel any heat. And you won't start sweating if you have an approaching comet because, again, not a ball of fire. So there's that and some other funny stories about, you know, sound scientific principles to make your world building in science fiction legit. Kevin J. Anderson, who writes Star Wars Dune, and he has his own epic, I think what he calls Game of Thrones and space series. It's called Saga of the Seven Suns, so I'll probably be checking that out. But he answered my question about how do fans interact in this age of social sharing, because book reading is a social experience. That's what we're doing right here, right now. And so he talked about how he does keep fans up to date on his Facebook page about, you know, writing the book, going through the process, where he's at. So people over a year who are invested in this author can finally say, oh, when it's published, they know, they feel like they're part of this book. They feel like, you know, they've gone through the process to a degree with the author. So it's pretty awesome for those fans. Alan Steele, who wrote the Coyote trilogy about colonizing other planets, which I will be reading, he talked about having old-fashioned book clubs that might have died out, but why not go to your library or start a local book club? You know, in the age of digital media, this is our book club. But it was cool because why not take that idea, go right now and film a booktube video in your library. Just hold up a sign, say, hey everybody, come over here. We're doing some book clubbing on booktube. Might be interesting. And after the panel, I got to see Kevin J. Anderson like bolt out of the room. I don't know if it was because he had better things to do, but it was just funny. I headed straight to the market and checked out all the books that were there. There's a ton of other things for sale, but you had huge tables of books. So if you could fight through the crowd, you could, you know, see this beautiful utopia of science fiction and fantasy books, and the authors were doing book signings. It's a really cool event. I'm going to put in the description links from Dragon Con coverage of the writer panels. So if you're interested in Timothy Zahn and these other big names, you can actually read some stories about the coverage that Dragon Con did itself. Dragon Con is, again, bigger than books, and it's the #1 people watching sporting event in the world, in my opinion. And if you don't believe me, Check out these photos from my Dragon Con 2014. This is Josh on the Reign of Books. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Subscribe to our channel. More of the good stuff comes every week. Take care.